What's up, everybody? Thank you for tuning into this episode. I want to give a special shout out to one of our day one sponsors, Fabricator 3D printers. They have 3D printers to fulfill any of your production, educational, and hobbyist needs. With their durable frames and precision nozzles, you are guaranteed amazing prints every time. With a full functioning computer built into the printer, you can do all of your designing, slicing, and printing in one place. Dream it, design it, print it. That's Fabricator 3D printers. Check them out at fabricator.com. Thanks, guys.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Our Fit Journey. I'm your host, Stephen Wrights. I hope you all enjoyed your Thanksgiving break. We're back with another week. I took some time off from recording, spending a little time with my family, spent a little time with my friends, and I hope you guys did the same too. I hope you guys enjoyed your holiday, enjoyed the food, and if you took a break from your diet for the weekend or just even Thanksgiving in general. I hope you guys are back on your diet, back on your routine, and continuing to push towards your goals and keep putting in the work to get to whatever goals you might have. So, that being said, like I said, we're back with another episode. This episode is super crucial. I really want to go in. I'm going to make multiple parts on this. We're going to kind of go over some general topics on this episode, and then we're going to dive deep into specific types of stretching. Basically, this episode is just going to be me talking about stretching and why it's important for you to do it before you work out, why it's important for you to do it after you work out. And so that's what we're going to talk about today, and I'm going to do more episodes on it. I know there's a lot of different types of stretching out there, and so by going into it and talking a little bit more about those specific things in different episodes, you'll be able to learn a little bit more about why those specific types of stretching are important, but also me doing research on them, I'll be able to learn a little bit more about that too. And I might even have a couple guests on who do different types of yogas, Pilates, different types of these deep stretches, these these types of stretching that you're kind of calming your body, you're thinking about things more. These types of stretching where you're more in a relaxed state, and it's not so much about stretching for working out. It's more about stretching and just trying to be more centered and more relaxed and be able to think a little bit more and go into deeper thought, just more of like a meditation type of thing. And so yeah, let's jump into it. There's many different reasons as to why stretching is important to you, and from physical benefits to mental benefits. And one of the mental benefits about stretching is by stretching you can kind of decrease your stress and some of your tension, whether that be muscle tension or just being in a relaxed state where you're focusing on your breathing and focusing on just trying to be in a more relaxed state, that it kind of, your body will tend to release endorphins, and you'll just be in this more, it's kind of a weird way to describe it, but it's just like this more calming state. You're just more at peace with everything, and by doing this, whatever's kind of bothering you stress wise, it tends to go away for a bit. So this is kind of one of the things that I focus on, not only when I'm stretching, but when I'm lifting. And that's if I'm doing like slower lifts and not doing as much cardio, even though I'll try and do it in cardio, it doesn't really work so much. But one of the things is try and focus on your breathing. So this is just something in general that I've kind of noticed in not only stretching, but lifting, cardio, boxing. When I did that, controlling your breathing is so important. And by controlling your breathing, you can kind of control, one, how well your conditioning will end up being. Generally, you need to train your lung capacity. You need to train your body in general to sustain long amounts of cardio. But you can do all those things, and if you can't control your breathing, you're going to suffer compared to somebody who does, or somebody who can control their breathing. And so you tend to also focus a little bit better when you are controlling your breathing, because when you're doing cardio, when you're lifting, when you're stretching, your body is focused on that activity, but you're also focusing on how that activity makes you feel. So if I'm running and I'm focusing on running, I'm focusing on what it's doing to me. It's making me tired. It's making me breathe a lot more. If I'm focusing on controlling how I'm breathing, or if I can control how I'm breathing and how that's going to affect how I feel. So if I'm able to control and make deeper breaths, more meaningful breaths than these short, like quick breaths because I'm out of breath or I'm trying to catch up with the pace of how I'm running and stuff like that. If I'm able to control that, it kind of puts me in a little bit better situation where I'm able to control the activity that I'm doing. And so same thing with lifting. If I'm lifting and I'm not able to control my breathing and I'm doing these short breaths instead of these deep, long breaths that give me better lung capacity, or not better, but like give me, fill my lungs better than if I'm taking these short breaths. Sorry to just breathe into the mic, but I kind of want to give you an example. But if I'm able to give these deeper, long breaths when I'm pushing a bar up, when I'm in a squat stance and I'm pushing myself up, if I'm able to take those breaths, it helps me focus on doing that one thing instead of being out of breath and trying to catch up with the workout. You're already caught up. You're already focused on the next rep, the next set, whatever it may be. And so this is also important in stretching. When you stretch, if you've never stretched before, stretch one time. I challenge you, stretch one time. I guarantee if you've never stretched before, if you do lifting, if you work out, if you run, and you've never ever stretched before, one, you're going to see an improvement in your workout, but two, you're going to feel really stiff and sore. I guarantee it. It's going to be a little bit uncomfortable for you, but that's good, because that means your muscles are stiff and they're stiff, and you want them to be a little bit more relaxed, whether that's before your workout to kind of warm them up and loosen them up for your workout, or if it's they got tight because you strained them so much in your workout and you're trying to make them a little bit more relaxed so they can recover now. And it also helps your flexibility. So it's one of the things that is super important. So if you're doing it and you're stretching, and I guarantee you, like I said, if you've never stretched before in your life and you go to stretch, you're going to feel super tense. It's going to be uncomfortable. You're not going to be able to stretch as far as you want to. And so when you do that, it might be a little uncomfortable, but that's good. When you do it and it's uncomfortable, or you're trying to reach the next thing and it's a little uncomfortable, so if you're trying to reach a little bit farther in your stretch and it's a little uncomfortable for you, this is something that I learned, and it's actually kind of worked very well. And so that's go into your stretch. When you're going into your stretch and you can't stretch any further, take a deep breath, and as you exhale, just try and lean a little bit further into your stretch. You're going to notice, I guarantee you're going to be able to stretch a little bit further. But by focusing on your breathing and your stretching, you calm your body, you kind of calm your mind also, and it helps you focus on whatever lifts that you're going to accomplish instead of thinking about work, instead of thinking about other outside factors. You just focus on the task at hand. And so it's super important. Control your breathing. You're warming up for the day. And there's two different types of stretching. And I'm going to get into those really quick before I kind of move on to some other reasons why this is important to you. And so there's dynamic stretching and static stretching. And so dynamic stretching is something that you want to do before you work out. And so this type of movement is more of like a consistent movement. You're not like, it's not a deep stretch. So like when people had you like touch your toes or like bend over and touch your toes, or like stretch your arm, like bring your arm across your body and stretch that. Those are things you want to, those are not dynamic stretches. What you want to do is like quick feet, bringing your knees to your chest at a slow pace, but like not knees to chest, but just bringing your knees up consistently for 30 seconds. Basically what I'd say is do each of these dynamic stretches and do them for 30 seconds, just one time through, all of them. And I guarantee you halfway through those 30 seconds, you're going to get a little sore from the fact that you're continuing to do this. And so like arm circles, that's a dynamic stretch. Go forward, backward with arm circles. Do butt kicks. Do like Frankenstein walks. So basically you keep your legs straight and your arms out in front of you and you just keep a straight leg. Do that 30 seconds. Basically, the point of dynamic stretching is to get you to move. And so the reason for that being is your muscles are really tight. You've probably been sitting down or not really doing much. You haven't been running or anything, hopefully. And this is to warm you up, to loosen up those muscles and stuff like that. So that's important before you work out. And as I talk about some other reasons why stretching is important later on, I'll dive deeper into why it's so important that you do this before you work out. After your workout, that's when you want to kind of do static stretching. And so static stretching is more of that bend over, touch your toes, bring your arm across your body, stretch it, elbow or try and like reach your back, elbow behind your head or whatever type thing. Just these like bringing up your leg to your calf and doing quad stretches or whatever. Doing these type of things where it's kind of like slower, where you're holding the stretch for a little bit more. Those are important for kind of relieving the muscles, because you don't need them to be loosened really anymore, like to the point where like they're warmed up for anything. So really you're just kind of stretching them to kind of get them to stop being so tight and tense. So think of it almost like, I'll use some analogies later on, but think of like ball your hand up in like a fist or whatever. And so dynamic stretching will like open up that fist and kind of make it more flexible and open, and not like just like I keep doing like visible cues here just because I'm just so used to it, but basically it's just so it's not as tense. And then dynamic or static stretching is kind of, it doesn't need to be completely tightened and loose anymore. So kind of stretching it so it's loose, but like able to kind of not be in that active state anymore, is what you want to do with that static stretching. All right. Another reason why this is important is, like I just said, like by not having your muscles so tense or tightened, this will help you reduce pain or reduce stiffness. So if you notice when you work out, you're very stiff, As you get older, you'll tend to notice that you get a little bit stiff more, and that just means you kind of maybe need to warm up a little bit longer. People always say that you need to warm up a little bit longer, but nobody ever kind of really gives you, like, people are like, oh, does that mean I should run or something like that? No, running's kind of really hard on your knees. It's hard on your tendons, your muscles, your joints. No, you should probably, like, that could probably be the second thing you warm up with, is like jogging or something like that. But by quote unquote warming up, they want you to do this dynamic stretching and basically kind of just get your muscles a little loosened, get the blood flowing, have you more focused for your workout. And what that'll do over time is you won't be as stiff anymore, because a lot of that stiffness just literally comes from your muscles being tightened and stuff like that. And this is super important as right now we kind of go into the winter months, because it's a little bit colder out. So basically it's going to take you a little bit longer to warm up. It's going to take your joints, your tendons, your muscles it'll take them a little bit longer to loosen up, to be ready to do whatever kind of lifts you're doing. If you're doing Olympic lifts, or if you're doing just regular like cardio or regular lifts, or if you're doing CrossFit or boxing, whatever it is, to loosen up. Like, kind of a good analogy is a boxer just doesn't jump in. Like, even professionals, when they're at a fight, they don't just jump into the ring. They warm up for a good like 20-30 minutes, and then they go and fight. You don't want to just jump into the gym and start working out. That's how you hurt yourself. That's how people tear muscles, is because their muscle isn't loose enough. It's this tight ball, and then they go and try and do like a heavy lift that they normally can do, and because they didn't warm up that muscle, it's just really, really tight. And that's how a lot of injuries can happen. One of the things is, if you are just very stiff in general, over time you'll notice, if you just do this on a consistent basis, you can do 10 minutes, you can do 15 minutes of stretching before and after, and I guarantee you it's not going to cut that much time into your schedule. You can even do the static stretching, so the stretching after your workout. You can even do that when you get home and you have the TV on or something like that. I do that all the time. It's really not going to affect you that much as long as you just do it. So over time, you're going to notice that you're not as stiff anymore. You don't have as much pain in certain areas as you used to, because you're a little bit more flexible now, and your muscles aren't going to be as tight in general. You're still going to have to warm up consistently, but they won't be as tight as they used to. All right. Also, you're going to enhance your like range of motion when you do this. So you can notice on your joints, if you start stretching a little bit more every day or every week, that over time you're going to be able to bend a little bit better. You're going to have better range of motion in your joints. And overall, like, I feel like this is something, if you notice that a lot of people don't have really good range of motion as they get older and are very stiff, it's because they don't really, like, when you're younger, you can kind of get away with not stretching. When you're really young, you should really stretch because it's important, but because your muscles aren't fully grown yet. But in your 20s and your 30s, you can get away with not stretching and being fine for a workout. But as you get older, if you have stiffness, if you have pain, if your range of motion is kind of lacking, you really need to do stretching. And a lot of the times, people that get older and have pain when they do certain things, it's not so much that they got older and that's just what happens. It's mainly because they've gotten out of this habit of either lightly working out, lightly doing cardio. They haven't done stretching, and a lot of them you can tend to see, as they start doing stretching, I personal trained a lot of people who were a little bit older who had a lot of ailments due to stiffness, due to pain in their joints and stuff, and they came to me like months after I was training them, a couple months after I was training them. It was like, hey, you really had us, you always had us doing like stretching before and after, and yeah, it was really annoying, and we definitely thought it was annoying and kind of a little pointless, but we noticed that our workouts, like, we weren't feeling as much pain in our knees or our shoulders, and we also noticed that like we that pain started going away and we became more flexible over time. And that was something that I was like, I was very happy that they came to me and told me that, but I was also like, please keep it up, like this is super important, and you should have been doing it more often. And I'm sorry that, like, because they had a trainer before me and their trainer like never did stretching with them, which was very surprising to me. But I would tell them that this is just super important, and whether this company gives you another trainer or whatever it may be, I want you to continue to do that, because that's something that's super important. It'll help your workouts, but it'll also just help you in everyday life, just being more flexible and not having that constant pain or stiffness with you. It'll also like help you improve, or it'll also help improve your blood flow throughout your body. So like when you're stretching, when you're doing this, like I said, you're expanding those muscles, you're expanding those tendons so they're a little bit looser, which helps the blood. Like once again, I'm gonna go back to this. Think of like your muscles being in this like knot, or think of a knot when you. Actually, better analogy. Sorry, I'm all over the place right now with this, but think of like a hose or anything like that, where if you tie a knot in it and it's balled up, the water's not flowing through there. So that's kind of like your muscles. It's not an exact diagram that your muscles are in an exact knot, but basically when they're all bunched up like that, it's hard for blood to flow through them and basically bring oxygen, bring nutrients to your muscles to be able to perform the activities that you need to. So by loosening up those muscles and getting them a little bit looser, a little bit more warmed up, you're able to have that blood flow through your muscles and be able to perform the activities a little bit better than you used to. Now, like I said, if you're doing this on a consistent basis, you're going to notice that you're not as stiff, that your muscles are a little bit looser, that you're not feeling as much pain. That also will just generally help the blood flow in your body a little bit better, because they're not always in that tight knot. You're a little bit more flexible, your muscles are a little bit warmer, a little bit more loose consistently. And so in general, that will help your blood flow throughout your body, which is obviously just super important for many reasons, and not just many reasons in general, not just your fitness. And so this is why like this stretching is like super important. Why fitness in general is super important, because in general, fitness will loosen up your muscles and do that stuff. But if you're trying to train for something, or just in general, stretching will help you continue to be a little bit more flexible than people who don't. Like you might notice people your own age aren't as flexible as they used to be, or aren't as flexible as you. That's probably because they're not doing stretching. They're not staying active. And so the fact that you are helps your blood flow, your stiffness. It'll help not have those pains in certain muscle groups, pains in certain joints, and it'll also help reduce your injuries over time, which is kind of the next thing. Is like I was saying, that knot and like the blood flow, a lot of injuries and where you get tears in muscles and things like that are because people don't warm up. And so by doing that dynamic stretching, another analogy, and I know I'm throwing a lot of them at you, but I'm going to continue to do it. Another analogy. Think of a rubber band, or even those medical rubber bands that you might get at a physical therapy place. If you just take that, it's cold out, or like leave it out on a cold day, or just like let it sit around or whatever. If it's not warm and you just try and stretch that as far as you possibly can, it is gonna tear easily, or a lot quicker than it would if, say, you had the band in front of you and you just gradually pull it out and gradually pull it out and just keep doing that, and loosening it up until you can expand it as far as it can expand. It's going to be able to expand a lot further, and it's probably not going to break. Because it's not having that tension. It's having that warm. It's not cold and just getting stretched to as far as it possibly can. And that's basically what muscles do. Is when you're working out, when you're lifting, you're expanding, you're stretching the muscles. And so what happens when you'll tend to see people that get injured or have muscle tears, or tendon tears or ligament tears. What tends to happen is people won't warm up, and it doesn't even have to be a super heavy weight. It doesn't even have to be the heaviest weight that you might be trying to lift. It could just be a general weight. And when you're trying to stretch that muscle, stretch that tendon, when it's cold and not warmed up and not loose, you're going to get that small tear. You're going to get even bigger tears sometimes too. And it's not a fun thing to do. I've seen muscle tears. I've seen them in person. I've seen them online. They're not, one, it's not pretty. Two, it's super painful, and it's a long recovery too. So just by doing this warm-up stretching of dynamic stretches, you're not going to have that problem. You're not going to be in the same boat. You're not going to have to worry about that. Yeah, it's pretty hard to damage to tear your muscle, but it can happen. It can happen all the time, no matter what level you're at. So by doing these stretches, you're going to warm yourself up and not have to worry about that as much. It's something that I never really worry about, because I always do these stretches. I always at least warm up enough to feel comfortable doing some sort of lift. So it really kind of reduces your risk of injury by doing this, and the fact that you're more flexible. You're just able to like withstand more that your body can take over time. And so you're kind of not having that ring rust and then just all of a sudden trying to perform some activity and then getting hurt. You're kind of just staying like loose. You're just kind of staying loose and able to do the things that you want to do, because you're doing this 10-15 minute exercise. If 10-15 minutes a day can stop you from really injuring yourself or pulling a muscle and needing surgery, don't you guys think it's worth it? Because muscle tears, tearing a ligament, it happens all the time. And I can guarantee you around 80-85% of the time it's because people don't warm up. People don't get ready to do the activities that they need to do. They just run in and try and do it, and their bodies aren't prepared for it. And one day their body just kind of says, I had enough, and I'm not doing this today. So really, just spend the 10 minutes, spend 15 minutes, hell, spend 5 minutes and just stretch before and after you work out. And I guarantee you you're going to feel a lot better, and it's going to be very beneficial to you. All right.
Are you tired of having the same old boring supplements, not knowing which supplements to buy? Are you tired of wearing that uncomfortable t-shirt to the gym to work out in? Well, then check out fnxfit.com. They have amazing variety of different types of supplements for you, from regular proteins to vegan proteins, pre-workouts, BCAAs, whatever you might want, they have it. To their amazingly comfortable workout clothes. Guys, I've tried it myself. Their workout shirts, amazing to work out in, very breathable, and they don't restrict you. They also have amazing accessories such as hats, sunglasses, whatever it might be. You can find it there at fnxfit.com. If I haven't sold you guys yet, how about you use my coupon code FNXJourney99 for 15% off any of your purchases. All right. They also have other amazing deals every so often where you could get 50% off your order, a buy one, get one free. You should really check them out, guys. All right. That's fnxfit.com. Once again, that coupon code is FNXJourney99 for 15% off. All right, now let's get back to the episode.
And yeah, like I said, it kind of just reduces the wear and tear on your joints too, because for the same reason. It's not just your muscles, it's not just your tendons. If you just go and try and run without warming up, that's really hard on your running is really hard on your knees in general. And I think that that's something that people tend to forget. They think it's a very simple activity. If I go, oh, I'm just going to go jog. I'm not even running. I'm just going to go jog. That bouncing up and down on your knees is so bad for your knees, and especially outside. I mean, granted, our society, us as people have developed really good shoes to kind of take that tension off of your knees, off of your joints, but it's still a lot on your joints. And so if you don't warm up, think of that, like those analogies that I was telling you. If you just don't warm up, yeah, your bones are a little bit stronger and stuff like that, but the joints are just bones, like connecting bones by these small tendons, small ligaments, and they're just sitting on top and like fitting in almost like connector pieces. And when you go running and you just start running, all of a sudden it's tough on your knees, especially in winter. I'll see people like leave their house in my neighborhood and just start running right out of their house when it's cold out. And yeah, you probably don't want to warm up outside, but like I don't think they're warming up inside, and it's just tough on your knees. I played so many sports, and I always kind of warm up before sports because I always just kind of wanted to feel better. But yeah, I just remember like I used to play racquetball, and sometimes I wouldn't warm up for racquetball, and both times I got injured, and both times I dislocated my knee was racquetball. And so yeah, it's not good on your joints. It doesn't help them. Doesn't help your muscles, doesn't help your tendons. So just warming up is super, super important, and will definitely help you reduce any risks of injury. So if you're really kind of worried and trying to avoid getting injured, just do this 10 minutes. It's not a big deal. All right. It also, like I was saying, it improves your muscular function and performance. Like I was saying with that rubber band scenario, your muscles stretch. That's what happens when you work out. Any type of lift, any type of running, your muscles are stretching. And so if they're cold, they're not going to stretch really far, and you're going to have to stop a lot sooner, and you can maybe injure yourself. But if they're warmed up, if you're doing that light movement with it and it's starting to expand a little bit more, you have a greater threshold that you can then expand that muscle to, whether you're running, whether you're lifting, whatever it may be. So your muscle will be able to expand and stretch a little bit more than it used to, which will then in turn help you lift a little bit more, or run a little bit farther, or just do a little bit more in general, because you're getting more out of that muscle then. All right. But then, like I was saying, you want to do that stretching at the end so that that muscle's all stretched up. Think of guys that go to the gym and they get the quote unquote pump. All right. Basically what that is your muscles stretch, and then it'll get to a certain point and it'll be strained at that stretched point. Well, basically the stretching afterwards is to kind of relieve that muscle So it's not strained. It can be a little stretched, but it's not stretched and tough or strained. It's relaxed a little bit, so now the muscle can recover, rebuild itself, because basically that stretching will, you'll get these small tears. And then basically what that is when you eat or when you intake food, you're then rebuilding that. When you sleep, you're rebuilding that. And so basically by rebuilding that, and doing some static stretching afterwards, you're going to rebuild that muscle. And then that's how people kind of gain muscle mass, is by stretching, damaging it a little bit, and then rebuilding it with rest, with doing some sort of stretching to relieve the muscle. If your muscle is just strained all the time, and then you wake up the next day and all it did was basically just kind of, I guess the best way to explain it is just like you were expanding that muscle. You don't want your muscle to go from cold, not flexible at all, to all of a sudden stretched to its finest point. But you also don't want that muscle to be stretched at its finest point and then just retract all the way to its starting point. You want it to gradually go down. And basically that's what the static stretching will do. All right. It'll help it retract a little bit so it's not as stretched anymore, and the muscle can relax now. All right. So, and what that'll do is over time, your performance will improve because you're warming up really good and you're able to get your lifts in, and you're not feeling stiff or weird when you're doing your lifts. You're also not getting injured as much, so you're able to just perform. You're able to perform your workouts. You're able to perform whatever you're trying to do, whether it's a sport. You're just gonna have a higher level of performance if you just stretch just a little bit before and a little bit after. So a little bit before, warm up the muscle, a little bit after to de-stress the muscle from what it just endured over that half hour, 2 hours that you just spent working out that muscle or working out different groups of muscles. So it's super, super important, and it's something that people just need to do a lot more. And so it has this small short activity that you can do each day just has like a huge effect on you. And whether it's your mental, whether it's on your mental health or your physical health, and just your training in general. And so what it ultimately will do is just improve your capability, flexibility wise, performance wise. It'll just set you up to be able to accomplish whatever you're trying to accomplish a little bit better and a little bit safer too. So before I go, I have a bit of motivation for you guys, give you a little bit of motivation before I head out for the day. So today I got a motivational quote. It's by Ray Lewis. It says, "Every day of my life, I'm trying to find a different way to get better." And I think that really goes hand in hand with what I've been talking about today with stretching and how it's super important. This is a very simple way that you can go about your workouts and just get a little bit better every day. 5 minutes beforehand, 5 minutes at the end. This stretching, like I said, it'll help you improve your performance. It'll help improve your blood flow. It'll help your any kind of mental stress that you might be having. It'll help reduce risks of injury, and it'll help you not be as stiff anymore. If you're feeling stiff, if you have some pain, stretching will help you be a little bit more flexible. And I know it's not the quote unquote sexiest thing, stretching, but it is super important, and it'll help you just get to that next level that you might want to get to. All right. All professional athletes do some sort of stretching, some sort of warm up. So if you're trying to you're trying to perform at a higher level, if you're just trying to work out, lose weight, whatever it is that you're trying to do, stretching will help you. It'll help you get to that next level. It'll help you get to that next level if it's something that you're not doing already. If you're doing more of it, depending on what you're training for, it'll help you drastically get above and beyond what you or what competitors might be doing. Improve your stretching, change your stretching, look up different ways to stretch. I'll post a video of different stretching techniques, but this is super important and it'll help you get to that next level. And if you're trying to get to that next level in training, if you're trying to get better at whatever you're trying to do, stretching. Think of different ways. Think of different ways you can improve your workout, stuff like that. And that's why I think this quote really resonates with me, is I'm also doing that. I also think of different ways I can improve my workouts, different ways I can improve how I get these episodes out to you, how I can get more information in the time that I have, how I can also stretch a little bit better, stretch to help assist the workouts that I'm going to be doing. How can I warm up a little bit better so I'm not feeling stiff for my main lifts of the day, whatever it is? How can I stretch afterwards so I don't feel as stiff maybe the next morning, or kind of relieve some tension in my back? I've been recently having some back pain, and so I've started stretching a little bit more. Foam rollers are a thing that everybody's talking about, but they are super helpful if you're using them right. All right. I'll use mine all the time after deadlift days on my, especially on deadlift days or days that I use my legs a lot, because of the surgery that I had like a year and a half ago. It's super crucial to me to make sure that my muscles and tendons aren't stretched or aren't stiff because I work them out too much. I want to make sure that they are a little looser, and so I don't have to worry about the tendons in my knee maybe getting stretched or tearing or whatever it is. I really try and take care of my knee. I really try and take care of my body in general with stretching. And so it's super important to you. And so if you want to get to that next level, I highly recommend you start stretching a little bit more. Do a little bit more research. Figure out what stretches will assist your type of workout too. All right? I hope that this little motivation helped you. I know that this isn't probably the most the topic that everybody wants to hear about, but it is a very important topic. All right. Next week we're going to be back with some more gym rules for you guys, so I hope you guys enjoy that. Carl's going to be back on the episode, so check it out. The bonus episode will be out soon. I'll be talking about tips and tricks to help you eat healthy or stick to your diet around the holidays. I'll also be talking about how it's important to enjoy the holidays too. So enjoying Thanksgiving, enjoying Christmas, not being able to or be willing to break your diet for 2 days. It's 2 days. It's not going to kill you that much, but also that you need to get back on track right afterwards. So, all right. I hope you guys enjoy that bonus episode. And if you want to follow that, find out more or listen to that bonus episode, it will be available on Patreon soon. All right. The first episode, or the first bonus episode, was me and Carl talking about our competition, where we're at now, stuff like that. All right. So I hope you guys have been getting a lot out of these episodes, and I'll see you guys next week. All right. Take care.